Hello and welcome to the Caring Matters podcast. I'm Liz Tassone, I'm the volunteer host, and as you can see by the background, this is another holiday edition, and what we thought might be helpful this time for our caregivers is, or for anyone watching that has an older relative, and as we approach the holidays, maybe doing a home visit with their older adult relative. And so we've got a list of 10 things to kind of be aware of as you visit with that older adult in their home over the holidays. So this is a list of 10 things. I got it from a group called Living Well Senior Solutions. So it's called 10 Things to Look For. I adapted it just a little bit. So these are things you might just pay attention to as you're visiting, not to make a big deal out of it, but just something to be aware of during your visits. One thing we've noticed in agencies that work with older adults get a large degree of calls in January because people have been home for the holidays and they see some things and then they feel like it might be time to begin some intervention or begin looking at some of the agencies that serve older adults. So this might help you know what to be looking for. First of all, if you notice that they've had any difficulty managing medications, so you see that they're maybe not taking their dose on time, or you can see that it's an old prescription that should have been used up by now and yet they're still using it. Maybe they're missing some dosages. So that might be something to pay attention to. Or if you notice they're even having trouble with the medications, with the actual opening of things, to get a pill thing for them, that they can keep track of their medications a little better. This is something pretty obvious, but if you notice some unsteadiness in their gait, if they've had some recent falls, something to pay attention to. If they have some unexplained injuries, that they may have fallen, and or if they're expressing a fear of falling as well. That's something to pay attention to. The third thing is a decline in personal cleanliness. If your mother or father was usually pretty fastidious dresser, very aware of spots on their clothing or something, and you're noticing that they're not taking as much care towards their appearance, that's something to pay attention to. An unkempt appearance, body odor, or wearing the same clothes for days, and those clothes having spots on them as well. Another thing that I think is a good idea if you're in town with an older adult is to let them drive. If they are still driving, is to ride with them and let them drive and just pay attention to how well they're doing behind the wheel. There's lots of, there are programs available to help assess older drivers and help them to keep their license longer if they are willing to do some training, or maybe there might be some exercises they can do so that they can continue driving longer. But that's something that you might want to do, is to ride with them driving. The other thing is if you notice a change in behavior or personality, if they're more anxious or depressed, if they're upset, or they lack interest in their usual activities, or noticeable change in their daily routine or sleep patterns. These are things just pay attention to. And then we'll talk at the end about what to do about these things. If you see they have reluctance in leaving the house, or reluctance in staying connected with friends, or a change in patterns of visiting, or just a decreased involvement in their social or religious activities, just something to pay attention to. If you notice they're having trouble performing normal tasks at home, such as doing the laundry, or you notice that dishes are piling up more, simple home repairs aren't being made, lights aren't working, the thermostat's not adjusted, or the outside of the home is not kept well, and they used to keep that well. Pay attention to that. If you see unexplained weight loss, where they're no longer cooking, they have a shortage of food in the home, or spoiled food in the refrigerator, something to pay attention to as well. That can actually be pretty dangerous if they're eating something that's maybe moldy or past its time for safety. The other thing to notice is there a lot of unopened mail or unpaid bills that are piling up? Piles of newspapers or magazines due to deteriorating eyesight or confusion about the task. And the other thing, the 10th thing, is an altered communication pattern. So less frequent or poorer quality changes in their vision or hearing. So these are things to just pay attention to while you're home for the holidays. And I hope we're not trying to put a damper on the holidays, just things to pay attention to. And then if you begin to notice these things, these would be things that you might want to bring up with your relative about maybe your noticings. Or if you get back from the holidays, begin to contact an area agency on aging or the Caregivers Assistance Network and begin to kind of come up with a plan of action or an agenda to begin a discussion with your loved one. So just some things to take note of while you're home for the holidays. And we certainly hope you have a wonderful holiday. And before I close, I want to thank our sponsors, Vitas Hospice, Hillebrand Home Health, Home Care by Blackstone, Family Bridges Home Care, Lifespan, and Bailey. And happy holidays from the Caregivers Assistance Network.